speaking of Michael Jordan, there's a controversy, Rob. Some people think he was snitching last night. I didn't get that. I don't think you got that. But we'll let you guys decide as Rob and I unpack this. But here's the quote that's got people up in arms.
I had one event, preseason. I think we were in Peoria. It's in a hotel. So I'm trying to find my teammates. So I start knocking on doors. I get to this one door, and I knock on the door, and I can hear someone says, shh, someone's outside. And then you hear this deep voice says, who is it? I says, MJ. And then they all say, he's just a rookie. Don't worry about it. So they open up the door. I walk in, and practically the whole team was in there. And it was like things I've never seen in my life as a young kid. You got your lines over here, you got your weed smokers over here, you got your women over here. So the first thing I said, look, man, I'm out, because all I can think about is if they come and raid this place right about now, I am just as guilty as everybody else that's in this room. And from that point on, I was more or less on my own.
Can I start this, Rob?
Okay, I'm just going to say this.
Go ahead. Okay.
Good insight to what the league was, Chris. And I don't think I think that's an honest assessment. He could have left that out if he wanted to.
Right.
But that's what was going on in that league. And don't forget.
And it wasn't quite the 70s. So it cleaned up a little since the 70s.
Right. But you know what I mean. But the 70s were really bad.
Yes.
Tape delay. People didn't. The league was down. They even talked about it. The Bulls were getting outdrawn by the indoor soccer league team. That's how bad the NBA was.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And yeah, I think you make a great point. And let me put this into context too, because Jordan was asked the questionnaire asked him, the interviewer, the Bulls at that time when you got to that team, Rob. They were known. There was a column written in Chicago that called them the traveling cocaine circus.
Yep, that was their nickname.
Right. Jordan did not break news yesterday with this documentary. He didn't put it out there for the first time. It was well known that the Bulls, and as you said, Rob, other teams were deep into the drugs.
Yes, it was a problem in the NBA. There was no doubt about it. And it was considered the drug league. That's
right.
What
it was too black and too drug infested is what they were saying about the NBA. And for all that talk about he snitched, where's the name?
He didn't name anybody, did he?
Right. Didn't name one name. There was no snitching going on. In fact, I actually give Jordan props because I think it was a teachable moment. This is Michael Jordan, the best player of all time. And he showed you don't worry about being cool. Don't worry about fitting in. Don't worry about doing what everybody else is doing. A lot of players, Rob, probably would have been like, yo, is all right.
You don't want to be called square.
Right.
Oh, MJ's a square, man.
Right.
Look at all these honeys in here, and he could have had done a line with us or whatever. He ain't no real teammate or whatever, Chris. Right? That's the peer pressure.
You're exactly right. And so he showed you don't have to buckle for the peer pressure. What if he had? What if he had, and maybe he doesn't become the Michael Jordan that we know. So that's number one. Number two, Rob, I think the comment he made was telling. That he thought, and I don't think most people would have thought this, Rob. I don't know that I would have thought that. I would have thought, I'm not with this, let me get out. But I don't know that I would have thought if we get raided by the cops, I'm just as guilty as everybody else. Count up the costs before your actions. Too many people act impulsively, especially young people that got it going on and think, you're untouchable, right? Count up the cost. What is the result? What are the possible ramifications of me making this move? Am I right, Rob?
100% right. And he surveyed the situation, and he was right. He could have stayed there 5 minutes longer, not done anything. He would have been guilt by association. And he's right. I can remember having a conversation with my nephew before he went away to college. And I said to him, kids go away, they try stuff. I'm not sitting here being like like I'm naive, right?
Right.
I said, just make sure whatever decision you make it on your own because you'll have to live with it. That's what it comes down to, Chris.
Yep.
Just because you can't let other people pressure you into doing stuff. Just understand there are ramifications for whatever you decide to do. And Mike, right then and there, decided that wasn't for him, and he walked away from it.
Yeah, I was impressed by that. Not just that he walked away, but that he actually said, if we get raided, I'm just as guilty as everybody else. That's from his parents, Rob. That's from being raised well by his parents for, I don't know what he was, 21 years old to think that. So the other thing some people thought he snitched.
He was snitched. How did he snitch?
Was Scottie Pippen. When he said, do we have sound of that, Rob G? Alex? When he said that, remember, Scottie had sat out, basically waited to have surgery. Scottie had an injury at the end of the previous season. Could have had surgery right away and been ready to play the full 82 games the last year together. Instead, Scottie waited until the beginning of the season to have the surgery. So he ended up missing like almost 40 games, the first half of the season, and then some. And here's Scottie.
I felt like Scottie was being selfish, worrying about himself as opposed to what his word was to the organization as well as to the team.
You got any issues with that, Rob?
No, he was being selfish. He was at that point. He had a contract he was unhappy with. We got it. But to wait, you see guys do this all the time, Chris. Wait till right before training camp or the season start and have surgery.
Right.
You could have had it in the off season and been rehabbing. People do that deliberately. Oh, I'm not ruining my summer. I'm going to go out and barbecue and get on the boat and go to the beach. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you can't do it if you have surgery. So that is being selfish in that situation, especially knowing that was probably going to be their last dance, right?
Right. And you hit it on the head. I don't think Jordan was talking about Scottie wanting more money.
No, that's not
the problem.
No.
He was talking about, as you said, the surgery. And the surgery, it was petty. Now, if you want to say, if Scottie had been like, man, look, I am 122nd highest paid player in the league. I'm a top 10 player. I got 5 rings. I'm making a stand. Making a stand would have been, I'm not playing this year. Right. Or I'm holding out until y'all give me a new contract. That's different. That's making a stand. What Scottie did was petty. Let me put it this way. Scottie was pouting. He didn't make a stand. He was pouting. And I say pouting because, I'm going to wait till the beginning of the season. I'm going to show them. But then he was always around the team, and he came back when he was healthy. So that's pouting. That's throwing a fit. Making a stand is, I'm not playing, period, until I get my new contract. That would have been making a stand, and I think that may have been sat differently with Jordan. But here's the other.
That would have definitely been different because it's hard for you to argue about somebody and their money,
right,
and what they believe they should be getting. I mean, I could not, like I think we talked about it before when the players, what the Steelers kind of came out against.
Was it Le'Veon?
Le'Veon. And I just thought, like, dude, let a guy wants to do what he wants to do. You know what I mean? For his money, that should be his. You should just not comment when it comes to somebody else's money. So I think that Michael and those guys would have looked at it differently if he just said, I'm not playing until I get paid here.
Well, I think and this gives more insight into Jordan, and we saw it, and David Falk said it as well, Rob, last hour. Jordan, I believe, from his upbringing, which was a middle-class family upbringing, nuclear family, father, mother there, I think he was taught respect for authority, and that followed him throughout his career. Falk talked about how he respected all his coaches. He went to North Carolina, fit in, right? I mean, what's the famous saying, Rob? The only person to hold Michael Jordan under 22 points a game is Dean Smith.
Yep.
Jordan wasn't there scoring 30 points a game at North Carolina. Nobody knew he was as good as he was. They knew he was great, but not what he became because he fit into the system and did what the coaches asked him to do at North Carolina. And so I think that showed in his own view of his contracts because Jordan was in his 95-96, the year they won the 72 games and the championship, Jordan was the 32nd highest paid player in the league, Rob. Jordan, the 32nd, didn't hear a peep, didn't complain. Contract was up after that year, and then he got the two big $30 million paydays in his last 2 years. But Jordan was woefully underpaid as well. I think he probably looked at it like, look, I know Scottie's underpaid, but, you know, I think that was just Jordan's mentality. You play on the contract you're on, and then when it's time to deal with it, you'll deal with it.
Yeah, because there was always talked about that David Stern made more money than Michael Jordan in those days.
Right.
The commissioner. And I know times have changed, and Roger Goodell makes $45 million or whatever. But back then, for Michael Jordan, considering all the tickets he sold everywhere they went, and all the other stuff they were getting, that he was making less than the commissioner was mind-boggling.
Well, Rob, to your point, what you just said, and look, LeBron James is clearly, without question, the face of the NBA. But he is still not the face of the NBA like Jordan was the face of the NBA. Am I right? Jordan,
absolutely.
The whole league was defined by Michael Jordan. And as much as LeBron's the number one player, most popular, most famous face of the league, he does not hold the dominance over the league. And I'm not even just talking about, it's related to the championships, because if LeBron went on a championship run like Jordan, I think he would rule the league like Jordan. Like he would be viewed,
right,
that dominant beyond the game, just period. It'd be like Michael Jordan, for all those other stars, Barkley, Pippen, Ewing, Shaq, you can go on and on, Clyde Drexler, Malone, Stockton. It was Jordan on a pedestal by himself, period. It wasn't even like close. And there are some close in the same sentence with LeBron. You know what I mean? And so that's what millennials may get out of this documentary as well, Rob. Just how much the league was defined by one player. All right, quickly, we'll get to a few calls. Did you think Jordan was snitching? Let's see what they say, Rob.
All right, Stephen in Dayton, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, first of all, I love the show. Every time you guys are on or guests appearing, I always listen to your commentary. It's very unique.
Oh, thank you.
Genuine.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Also, I know my Dayton Flyers would have made it to the Sweet 16.
They had a great team
Probably
this
would
year.
have got that far for sure.
They had a great team. They did.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll never know. And also, I know you're going to be in agreement the third time. You know, and I know, once he said Scottie Pippen's name, that was snitching. Because you do not say anybody's name. You can say what you want, but once you put Scottie Pippen's name in the mix like that, that was snitching. That's just breaking the bro code.
When he said Scottie was being selfish?
Yes.
No. He's asked a question about Scottie, and I also think this. He put his name on it. He didn't give it no anonymous quote.
We talk about it all the time, Chris. As reporters, I mean, I respect people who are willing to put their name to it.
Yeah.
Because most stories that we get, people don't want their name to it.
Yep.
That's how we operate. If
you're willing to face it like a man and say, yeah, so-and-so did this or so-and-so, then how you going to be mad?
What did we say
Scottie
about Mike Friars? About the Astro scandal, Chris, right?
Yep.
He could have gave that story to
it would have probably been almost as big, if not as big.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
He could have done it without it.
That's
so,
the baseball betting scandal. Yeah.
Exactly. So I.
Yeah.
I
He didn't
don't-
put Scottie's name on the drug use. Scottie wasn't even on the team at that point. So
no, that's not what he was saying. Not at all. All right, let's go to Felicia in Michigan. Finally, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up?
Hey, I want to
Felicia.
say I'm sorry about earlier, but I want to say a couple of things before we go on. I want to say that I'm very proud of you guys. I love calling in. I feel very inspired by you guys, and I do hope you get your show because I do watch one of my goats, Skip Bayless, all the time, Undisputed. But I think you guys are now became on my goat list. So I really hope you guys get your own. No, seriously, you're on my goat list.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate that.
But I want to go back. I want to say, no, this snitching culture, I'm a millennial. I'm really young. So, but I have to go back and I have to research everything. So I want to say that this snitching culture is overrated. They need to stop with that. I think, for me, in order to be defined as a GOAT, you got to start making unpopular decisions when you're young. And he showed you that although his whole team, 11 other members, were participating in things that he did not want to participate in, he was forward thinking, and even about the raid. Like, this could be raided.
Right.
This could be the end of my career before it even started. So he was showing you how to make an unpopular decision, which some people probably would have went in there and participated because of pressure. So, I love it. And also, I want to go back to Shaq. I just want to say one comment. I want to say that I think Shaq, I know he don't smoke marijuana, but he must be on that contact high. And thank you, Rob Parker, for taking up for my Detroit Pistons. And also,
all right, bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia.
All right, Felicia, you hogging the radio today, but we appreciate your support, and Felicia in Detroit.
Yes, we do very
Bye,
much.
Felicia.
So.